right, welcome back to Perdido Key Gaming. Today we've got another game I really enjoyed. Actually been enjoying it since Dominions 2. There was a Dominions 1. There is a Dominions 5. This is Dominions. It's on Steam. And I've been playing with it for, oh my gosh, forever it feels like. But I thought I'd show you a little bit about it and everything like that. So you can play existing games. You can actually um, play by email with friends. You can create new maps. You got your usual preferences, up and down volume, things like that. Um, Add mods and things like that. I don't even. I just have these. I'm not sure. I think it adds more heroes and stuff. Anyway, but not really not really that important, but it does. That's one of the good things about this is it's extremely moddable. Haven't done any of that myself, but but basically, you're um, this will probably be your first step. Like they say, they give you a bunch of maps. There's a bunch of maps that are downloaded. You can find these maps on Steam everywhere, all sorts of places. Um, some of them are pretty small, 96 lands, 11 seas. Some are these random ones I generated just to goof off, as a beer and pretzels type thing. Um, when I'm playing single player, I don't really like to play by email. I am a very junior player. I just play for giggles. So, but anyway, so when you start out, you go and you pick a pick a map. Show you the map. There's very, not too much sea. You can set when you create maps, you can make it almost all sea, very little sea, try to generate little islands and stuff, or, for whatever reason. um, and, you give it a game name, of course. And then in Dominions 4 and almost all the Dominions, it's either set in the early, middle, or late ages. Very little tech would be in the early ages, and a lot of tech in the late ages. In tech meaning armor and weapons, not necessarily some machine guns or anything like that. But so Middle Ages, and then you set up participants. The human is you. You can set the AI to be any number: easy, normal, difficult, mighty, and master, or impossible. It just gives the AI uh, more resources to use against you. Anyway, I'll set it up. And then you add players. Of course, all of these are going to be random civilizations that um, will take the place of these randoms. And I'm going to set mine, and here's all the nations or civilizations: Archspell, Ermor, Scalaria, Python, Man, Ryu, all sorts of different, some of them are based on real civilizations and things like some on fantasy civilization, Atlantis. Some of them are underwater type things. Jotunheim, you got your Norse giants and things like that. But and Man is sort of the Celtic version of everything, along with Ryu is kind of Celtic. It's seems like it's the elves, right? So in got Ermor, it's all death and destruction. They actually it survives on pain. But yeah, you set up you set up your game. It gives you a little information, gets you some information about your units and everything like that. Um, and then you build your god, or you can just select a god, that you have built before. There's an option for that. So it really depends on your play style, what you're going to do. Are you going to be just a tree guy with huge amounts of nature magic, or you could be moving yourself into some sort of death thing? Do you want to be mobile, immobile, uh, an actual deity, or what they call the rainbow god, which is you know going to have all sorts of different kinds of magic, but won't be very strong in all of them. Now, These might seem kind of familiar. It's not exactly Magic the Gathering type thing, but if you remember Masters of Magic from, oh shoot, I forget that game company, Microprose. Um, a lot of this, you'll see a lot of the similarities. So you got your Magic, which gives you the amount of the level of spells you can cast. Dominion is kind of the way your religion spreads and acts. You can set you can set your god to be totally awake at the start or imprisoned, which means he or she will take a while to get on the land or into the game. And then you basically you're setting up your. It's going to cost points. You set up your god to be whatever style of play you want. You know, some of these uh, paths of magic are kind of strong. Some of them are not. I think they're evenly balanced personally. But you try to use up as many points as possible. There's always kind of a few left over. There's nothing you can do with it, unfortunately. Um, so I set her up as a rainbow mage. I left out death and I left out blood, which are not my style. But you can reduce some of these to pick up blood and death. But my point is, there's one particular global spell that uses nature that I try to get to as soon as humanly possible because of the way that Death Nation works. You kind of want to keep your life, right? So depending on your passive magic, you get your sacred units. These things called sacred units get blessed. So when they're in battle, they get blessed. The morale goes up. In this case, attack skill goes up, and healing, magic resistance, and hit points go up. And those will all adjust depending on what your path of magic is. How about that? And same with Dominion effects. You increase your order turmoil. That means people are going to work a little bit harder. Same with productivity and growth and death. Your civilization will grow faster. But then you name your deity. So Morgana, let's say. All praise Morgana. And then you set up, the game settings. You can special sites or magical sites within the game. Each province may or may not have some. If you want a lot of gems and stuff like that, which powers your magic, you set this to go up. You can set the starting provinces to be more if you want. Independents are not game players. They're just like guys hanging out in the province. Your money, your multiples here. Random events happen all the time. Try to keep it rare for me because it's kind of annoying actually. And you can enable story events, which will make these events happen more. Kind of similar ones happen at the same time, kind of giving a story. Standard resource, limited art, unique artifact forging rate, which means you can only forge one artifact at a time. And there's master passwords and stuff so that nobody's messing with during play by email. You need that, set that up. And cheat prevention is active for play by email anyway. So there you go, creates the world. And then, basically that's, this is a big map, so it takes a while. There's a lot of nations that I said were going to be AI, so they're going to do their thing. So it might take a while. It actually goes a lot faster with computers with more RAM. So there you go. I remember Dominions 2, it would just take forever. The turns would take forever. Same with the previous game I showed you, War in the Pacific. You may as well go get lunch during the resolution of an actual turn. Some of the other things that are really cool about Dominions is just, like I said before, the mods and things like that. You can insert mods and hopefully, there's actually people out there that say, well, you can use this mod with this mod because it's not using up part of the system that this other mod is using. because all this stuff can be done in a text file, which is kind of crazy. Still fine-tuning the starting positions. I wonder what happened. Sometimes it breaks. But, that's what happens when you have a big map, like I was going to show you. I should have started with a small map. That way this wouldn't be happening. But there is a Dominions 5. Why am I still on Dominions 4? I don't know. I have Dominions 5 on Steam. I need to kind of go back. It's got a different way of, doing the blesses and things like that for your sacred units. Some of the units are different. There's more nations, different nations and things like that. So, I don't know. It usually doesn't take this long. I wonder if I blew it up. But basically, when you start a new game, you're going to be in your home province. That's it. So you've got any number of provinces around you, and it's kind of like a 4X type, explore, exterminate, expand type game. So you might think that, oh yeah, it's easy, you just send your troops in there and they beat up on the locals and you're good. But unfortunately, some of the locals can be pretty dangerous people. So yeah, I think there's something wrong with this. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. So it shows you it's spring. Each turn is a season. They'll have little things where you can see what season it is and what year it is. And then these are messages, gives you some information, tells you a little story. But there you go. So here's Man. He's starting out. This is Man province. You've got lines showing you that you can access 5 local provinces. You can turn that off. You can turn off a lot of this stuff via keystrokes and things like that, which is kind of cool. And in order for your units to get anywhere, your units are they show you as individuals, but I consider each one of these a squad. That makes more sense. But your commanders are kind of what do things, and they drag along your troops to help them do those things. So in the case of this guy, he's the Castilian. He's your basic, he's a basic commander. He's got, weapons and armor, and he's got skills and things like that. And yeah, they can be whacked, and then your troops are kind of like stuck, or they usually run for it. They retreat. And then, of course, the other guy that I've got going on is a Royal Forester. He's a scout. He's got stealth, force survival, patrol bonus. He's ambidextrous, so he's got 2 axes and stuff. So your commanders do engage in combat. So what I usually do is I just go ahead and you set up your research. So not only do you have colors of magic, but you have types of magic. Conjuration, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. Alteration gives you spells that alter your units, or not alter your units, but kind of like our enchantments. Evocations, which are like your fireballs and things. Like construction is where you're building your items and artifacts, things like that. Enchantment is I think of more global type things. Thaumaturgy, yeah, and I don't know how to really explain that. But if you click on the type, it tells you what spells are in level 1, level 2, level 3. So you can see it's kind of a 3-dimensional thing. What kind of magic it takes. It might take multiple types of magic. But that goes all the way up to level 9, and when you get to these level 9 things, it's usually all over. And you'll see that some of these, you just don't have the magic to do that, and so you end up having to buff up your commander's magic in order for them to be able to build this stuff. The same goes with artifacts and things like that. So you're not these are RPs, which are research points, not generating. It takes 50 to get to level 1, and then it slowly expands up and up and up. So you see your research speed. Then I do usually go to army setup and just get these guys. You want to move your commander kind of to the back so he doesn't get rolled over in case there's anything important. So I told him to stay behind troops, don't do anything. And then you can set your troops to do what they're supposed to do. You don't want to set your archers to be holding an attack closest. Your archers, you want to have them fire at other archers, cavalry, flyers, closest enemy, the large guys, which includes enemy commanders. So that's the way I set that up. The forester, usually, if he gets in a fight, he's probably dead meat, so it's just best to just fire closest. Maybe he'll take out an enemy commander or something like that. And then you set these guys to go do stuff. My army's pretty small, so what I usually set him to do is patrol the province. You can have him patrol, defend, move, pillage. You can have him become the prophet. Each religion, you get one kind of high priest guy that can be converted from any of the commander units. You can empower him to become proficient in some sort of magic, blood hunt, which we don't have blood. Tell him to construct a building or bust up the buildings you do have. Right now, let's set him to patrol and have him, head off sneaking. See, sneaking. And the last thing you want to do, make sure you always do this, repeat recruitment if you think that you might forget. And here's your commander units that you can recruit and your units that you can recruit. And you have a certain number of resources that are available to you in this province that lets you, tells you how many of these units you can build. Your gold also matters because you gotta, put in the gold to build their armor. And then, you build your troops up. So this being a Celtic type nation, you've got your old crone, your mother, and your daughter. So it's kind of the three phases of, womanhood, as it were, in many cultures. But so, I'm just going to build Daughter of Avalon to be researching, help research. You also got bards, you've got the monks, you've got your Castilian, you got your royal forester, and then you've got the royal foresters who are usually pretty unruly, but they do have some patrol bonus, so they're good for patrolling provinces and reducing unrest. They're thugs. And then you got your your infantries and your archers. So you got short spear, long spear, axe guys, sword guys. You got light cavalry, heavy cavalry, super heavy cavalry. And then you've got these sacred units, the Wardens of Avalon, which are the man sacred units. They are, pretty heavy infantry type guys. And usually your Lord Warden's also sacred. So usually what people will do, he's also stealthy, see? These wardens are stealthy, so you can move these guys into enemy provinces and then attack from within. How about that? And they're sacred, so your priests are also sneaky. So the priests can go with them and then cast the blesses on these guys to help them do better. And then super heavy cavalry, that's what I like to call them. They cost a lot of money and a lot of resources. And usually, not going to start with those guys. But what I do is the archers are good guys to have right off the front. And, you get a bunch of infantry until you've run out of resources. Holy points, you can only build 5 sacred units at a time. And then basically that's it. And then, your buildings that are present or sites that are present are all here. So usually the sites will not disappear. So that's good for you. And you got your temple already built, your laboratory already built, and your castle's already built. So you can do these same things in different other provinces, but there becomes a resource issue and things like that. Plus, building these places cost a lot of money. So you just go in turn and it does its thing. Normally you can see once it gets to the end what kind of nations are probably present in the game. You don't know right now, and that's why you send out scouts. You can also, do detection things. So Ermor's here, Kalem, Pangaea, Jotunheim, Shinuyama, which is kind of a Japanese type fantasy realm, and Pelagia, I can't remember which one that is. But there you go. So your scout's already scouting out, your troops have been built, so you can add them to your force. I can only have 80. As this guy goes up in level, you can get more, he can control more troops. And then, your Daughter of Avalon is present. So usually I tell them, just cast spells. They're not going to be able to do very much right now. So, and that's one of the things you want to do is you want to kind of build up a heavy duty spellcaster at some point or more. So we got 20 enemy units, light infantry and militia. That looks promising. Barbarians over here. These lion tribe guys. They're like lightly armored, lightly weaponed guys, but there's always a ton of them. Same with the blowpipe guys and woodsmen. And over here, you got heavy cavalry and heavy infantry. So that's kind of tough. Because the cavalry is pretty destructive, so it's best wait until you got more troops. And then, since that's only poor light infantry and militia, I think I'll steamroll them, hopefully. And then, of course, you got to do your research, so you set your spellcasters, just go ahead and do things. They can research, they can cast a ritual spell if you know any yet. They can forge magic items, do alchemy, which is turn gold into gems. They can and they can do the empowerment thing. So, once you get spare gems, it's pretty good idea. Sometimes, if you've got particularly heavy commander who's doing a lot, maybe give him the ability to do some magic, might be handy. Anyway, sit in your corner and research. But that's it, and there's still you're still recruiting the same thing. Of course, you could switch, but the best thing to do is get that research hopping, because that's what even the AI is doing. Anyway, so let's end the turn, and obviously going to have a battle, and I'll show you what a battle looks like, and then we'll do something else tomorrow, right? Global events are things that. It's possible for them, like I said, the ritual spell, and somebody might just, Ermor is bad about it. There's this one thing that just drains life out of everybody, and that's all she wrote, unless you somehow find Ermor and steamroll them. So, it gives you all these proclamations, by the way, them declaring their profits, profit of your religion, not profit money. Then the battle, of course, then gives you kind of a synopsis. I lost 5 of my 13 spearmen in the fight, but I managed to conquer it. They had 3 commanders, 6 militia, 8 light infantry, and 4 archers. In general, it's going to be these archers that were probably whacking the spearmen. But and you can also view this battle and see what happened. So there's my guys, my infantry, my archers, my commanders back here, and here come all these guys. They got their infantry, their archers, their commanders running around back here. My archers open fire on these guys, and you can click on them to see who they are. These are the light infantry. See, yeah, it's some of the light infantry and militia, they have javelins and stuff, so they're also missile troops. Yeah, they're hammering my yow. See, so my infantry just went through that militia like it was butter. But some of the, that's one of the things you kind of want to do is eventually get some light infantry to be the skirmishers on the front lines. And that way, when you're actual nation troops show up, you know, coming from the back. And that's one thing. These archers are freaking killing their own guys. So, you know, that's an unfortunate thing that happens. But the longbowmen have a little bit longer range than these simple archers, so they're going to keep seeing they got routed. So there you go. That's kind of the way it works. So now that I've taken over province, you have a defense rating, which, you know, always put somebody here. There's nothing like having no defense rating and somebody's scout shows up and just takes over the province from you. So here's another thing that happens. See, he was in a battle, so he got a heroic ability, heroic battle prowess. That means I got increased attack skill, which is, you know, got that going for me. But since they kind of busted on me, you can also go to the province and, you know, buy your light infantry, your militia. Some of these guys will always show up for your nation, and then you got your archer. Hey, cat. But gotta have, let's see, if you gotta have another spare commander because we're going to turn this guy into our prophet. So I lost 5 infantry. You know, I like to go back and get those guys back. Let's see, make some more troops. I like to have even numbers of archers and spearmen or other infantry up front. Now you might ask, why am I'm only getting short spearmen? Well, the sword and the long guy are slower moving. So if they're in the same unit as the rest of these faster guys, these guys are fast and these guys are faster. Then they all slow down to the speed of the slowest guy. So that's why. You can hit N to go to the next commander. Set for research. We're still scouting around. Now notice the mountain's kind of blocking him. And that's one thing I like to do. A lot of people go, what the hell do you do that for? Why are you spending money? But some of these provinces you can actually find more reconnaissance units. So I like to get my reconnaissance guys and spread them out to see where all the other nations are. So that's kind of it. Oh, here's one of the win conditions down here. You can't see it right now because you need a scout in there. That's unfortunate. There's a throne here. One of these, they're kind of super powered sites, and it's in the water. So that means eventually I'm going to have to hopefully find a place where I can recruit aquatic units so I can roll in there and capture that throne since it's so close. And you're going to have these scattered all over the place, and that's the win condition. You've got to capture as many of them as possible. And you can set that up in the options, whether you just want to rule the whole place, do a certain amount of damage, control a certain number of provinces, or hold as many of those actual thrones as possible. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Hope you like what you see. Hopefully you go out and take a look at Dominions. It's pretty cheap to buy on Steam. And, go ahead and find some opponents. You know, if you want to be like me and just sit here and play, that's fine. But it becomes really, really fun when actual humans are controlling the other nations. It can get out of control because everybody's got their own agenda. Anyway, hit like, hit subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more Perdido Key gaming.